Avowed looks pretty groovy, if you ask me. Obsidian has a great track record, and the clip in the trailer where the dude's dual-wielding magic wands lives in my brain rent-free. And between this, Starfield, and Fable, it seems like Xbox is really leaning into first-party RPGs, which I think is a great way to differentiate themselves from PlayStation's first-party reputation, which is primarily more linear, cinematic experiences. And that's not meant to be shade at PlayStation, it's just kind of the way it is. PlayStation's first-party games tend to focus more on presentation than moment-to-moment gameplay, and I think Xbox's strategy of focusing more on gameplay-first experiences that may be a little rougher to look at for their first-party lineup is a good idea. Hellblade 2 notwithstanding. But Xbox found themselves on Twitter's spanking chair the other day because of a rumor that started circulating out of The Verge, more specifically Tom Warren, who stated that Microsoft is planning on delaying Avowed to early next year, not because of any technical reasons, and apparently the game is actually in a good state, but rather Xbox's release schedule is getting a bit crowded, and they're starting to run the risk of cannibalizing their own sales and media attention. Now, I think we should get something out of the way here before going into the salt that this generated. Xbox was never going to make it through the rest of the year without delaying something. Their 2024 release schedule of first-party games and exclusive games, and keep in mind, we are 8 months into 2024 right now. There's only 4 months left in the year, and allegedly, their release schedule of exclusive games and first-party games still somehow had Avowed, it had the Starfield expansion, it had Stalker 2, and Indiana Jones, and Call of Duty. There was no way that all of these Xbox branded games were going to come out within 4 months of each other. That was just never going to happen. And frankly, I think this announcement should have been made way earlier because basically everyone already knew that at least one of these was getting pushed back to next year. That's just way too crowded of a 4-month span for any publisher. Microsoft 100% should have been more honest about this from the start because even they had to know this wasn't going to happen. 2024 was not going to be that packed. And at the time that I'm recording this, by the way, Xbox still hasn't confirmed the Avowed delay. I'm recording this in the afternoon of August 1st, and they still haven't officially confirmed it. Which, I'm just trying to give you a little bit of an even playing field on this channel. Before I make fun of PlayStation fanboys for like 10 minutes, I at least want to get it out of the way that Microsoft, this was lame. You had to have known this delay was coming, and if you are going to delay it to next year, flippin' tell us about it. There are less than 4 months left until 2025. If one of your 2024 games is not coming out this year, tell us. Thank you. But Avowed getting pushed back to next year for the sake of spacing out releases is a perfectly legitimate and believable thing to be happening. This report is perfectly believable. Starfield is Microsoft's big single-player RPG right now, and with the DLC coming out in the very near future, and with all the updates that have gone out for the base game, they probably just elected to push their next big single-player RPG to next year and not crowd the potential RPG playing audience too much. Looking at this news and immediately assuming there's something wrong with Avowed is just not the most level-headed or logical thing to do. Now, is this actually what's going on? Is this report actually true? Is the game actually in a good state right now? We don't know that, and we probably won't know that for a while, assuming we ever find out. But the version of events that's being reported here by Tom Warren is perfectly believable, is my point. And yet, if you're a PlayStation fanboy, this seems to be a bit difficult to comprehend for some reason. Because when Sony seemingly refuses to even update you on where your first-party games are, you might as well try and move the spotlight back to Microsoft. Because assuming Avowed actually is pushed to next year, Xbox still has a pretty decent lineup of shit coming out before the year ends. And like, I'm not trying to sound like an Xbox defender or Xbox fanboy over here, because I'm a PC player. I just view Sony and Microsoft as two game publishers, because that's what they are to me. I'm just pointing out that if you're a Sony fan, throwing stones at Microsoft for pushing back a game while your first-party runway is Concord, Astrobot, and basically nothing else until further notice, it's just a weird move. And you look really goofy moving like this. For example, Wario64 posted the news about the potential delay, and iDoJuegos responds, "That roadmap looking dry as fuck, laughing crying emoji." Right, the 2024 Xbox lineup with Stalker 2, Starfield's DLC, and Indiana Jones. And then if you want to count multiplats, there's the giant elephant in the room of Black Ops 6. And then you also have the other multi-platform AAA RPGs that are coming out, like Assassin's Creed Shadows and like Dragon Age. But according to you, the roadmap looking dry as fuck. on Xbox because Avowed is getting pushed back a few months. Okay. J-Dub tweets out, Avowed and Indiana Jones getting delayed to 2025 to finish up the PS5 Pro updates behind the frosted glass. Project Latitude is full steam ahead, I see. Hashtag Xbox, hashtag has no, hashtag games. And then a screenshot of R. Kelly for some reason. But just to be clear, you think the game that's launching on Xbox is getting delayed so it can launch on PS5, PS5 Pro? You think Microsoft is putting Indiana Jones and Avowed on the PS5 next year, and no one has said anything about it? You think the Xbox version of the game is set to go this year, but they're delaying it because of the PlayStation version, which hasn't been confirmed, and they're doing all this instead of just launching the Xbox version this year and the PlayStation version later? You know, the exact same strategy that Sony uses for their first-party games. They release them on PlayStation and then later on the PC. And all of you PlayStation dudes seem to think that strategy is totally good and absolutely better than them going day and date on multiple platforms. But suddenly, the exact same strategy coming from Microsoft is so unreasonable and unbelievable that you think the Xbox version is getting delayed in order to finish the PlayStation version that you don't even know exists. And you don't see this as port begging to the highest degree imaginable. Like, bro, this is fucking next level port begging. This is the kind of port begging that you and all the other PlayStation fanboys accuse other communities of doing for Sony's games. But you're just completely unironically doing it yourself. Also, where the fuck did Indiana Jones come from? I haven't seen a single thing about Indiana Jones also potentially getting delayed, but you say here that Avowed and Indiana Jones are getting delayed for PlayStation ports based on literally nothing. You're not even trying to hide the port begging anymore. A report comes out claiming Avowed is being delayed for completely non-technical reasons, and you take that report as Avowed and Indiana Jones are both delayed because of PS5 ports. Dude, like, PlayStation dudes will just say this and then also tell you they're not starving for games, or that they don't want Xbox games, or Xbox has no games. You guys will just do this. You just say these things. It's so bizarre how you don't notice what this makes you look like. Hello, I'm interrupting this video to remind you that this channel is sponsored by 4D Gaming. If you would like a really nice mousepad, go to 4dgaming.com and use code Joe for a discount. This channel is also sponsored by Glitch Energy. It's basically G Fuel, but better. So go to Glitch Energy and use code Joe for a discount. Thank you for letting me interrupt your content. I'll let you keep watching it now. Unleashed responds to the news of the Avowed delay and just says, lol. Yes, I too find it hilarious when publishers try not to overwhelm me with games and compete for my interest against my own hobby. It's a much better strategy to just spray games at people from both ends and not give your products the time or space they need to be financially supported. But then again, your bio is PlayStation Master Race, and PlayStation's strategy right now seems to be to release nothing at all. So I guess everyone's sense of humor is different. Craig Jenkins responds and says, this makes no sense. The people playing Avowed are not the same people playing COD. Yeah, but Starfield and Fable later. Like, you gotta space out the RPGs. The people playing COD are probably not the people playing Avowed. You're definitely right about that. But contrary to what many people seem to think, games other than Call of Duty exist and are capable of mainstream attention. I just love how the report says Microsoft doesn't want to crowd Avowed's release date with too many games, and your first thought is, yeah, but what does that have to do with COD? Like, how is this hard to wrap your head around? How is this difficult? Richard Nasty says, very busy period, Lamau. They are giving it time for the PS5 port. They gotta start paying off that Activision purchase. Right, they need to pay off the Activision purchase. You mean this Activision purchase? The one that jacked up Xbox's content revenue by 61%? That Activision purchase? Yeah, I don't think these things are related. Like, at all. Starkiller says, there is literally nothing this year for Xbox besides what? COD? Unless they don't want to compete against Hellblade 2, Lamau, like, come on. This is amazing. Like, I truly don't get how people are like this. Xbox has 3 big releases slated for the rest of the year. There's Shattered Space, there's Stalker 2, there's Indiana Jones, and you guys genuinely only pay attention to Call of Duty. Like, do you guys really only pay attention to the biggest games possible? You realize this just makes you look like a COD bro. The COD FIFA bros that everybody memes on because they're not real gamers. This is what you are making yourself look like. Like, by all means, keep doing it. I'm just not sure how it's a winning tactic. One more. Raven says, Obsidian game in a good shape. Doubt. Look, it's like, is Xbox capable of lying about this report? Yeah, sure. The game could totally be a technical mess right now. They've been very eager to show gameplay from it, which is a good sign that it's not a technical mess. I would just like to point that out. It's not like Obsidian's been shy about showing us gameplay. That's part of the reason why there's so many people disappointed that it's delayed. You see the connection there? People are excited for the game because of the gameplay. The state of the game has made people excited for it. So it's perfectly believable that this is being done for release reasons, especially since there's other big RPGs coming out, including Starfield's DLC in like a month and a half or 2 months or whatever the I don't get it. I don't get why a game getting pushed back for a few months is like the end of the world. The game's not canceled. From all we know, the game's not even in a bad state. It's just being spaced out a bit, which, God forbid, you work on your backlog. If you're an actual gamer, I'd imagine you have more games to play while waiting for this one. Do you not? If you have absolutely no games to play, in the meantime, between now and Avowed, I think you're not really playing games that much. That's maybe an assumption I'm making about you, but I'm going to make it anyways. Okay, toodles.